And I think, ladies and gentlemen, we're live.
Goodness.
Five's alive.
I know. 602 is alive.
Oh, that too.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody.
Yeah.
Don't alter your channel.
Yes. Please
This
don't
is not
adjust your
APG.
Please
don't mention the other podcast. Yes.
Oh, no, very much. Yes, this is something that we're going to have to battle with today, is my ability to not talk, but I'm sure it'll be fine.
Me too, yes.
Yes, I'm having one of those. Right. Okay, there we are then. The technology appears to be working. We look like we're on...
Don't say that.
No, well, I know. It's probably quite fatal. Yeah. Oh.
Famous last words.
Yeah. He says... there we go. It's all right.
It wouldn't be PT UK unless we had a few little...
Well, we try to minimise them where possible. If we can. Not always possible, of course. Marvellous. Right. Yeah, so, yes, sadly we've got a poorly Carlos today, so, but the legend that is Captain Nick has very kindly agreed to come and help us get through it all together. I think it's safe to say.
It's gonna be more a hassle than I'm worth, I think, personally.
Okay. I very much doubt that.
So if I get kicked off the channel, I'll know what's happened.
Yeah, yeah, that won't be happening, I can assure you. Very good. Yes, okay. So yes, it was quite. I'd say Nick and I got a video in our little group chat, didn't we, the other day? That where's the hat, Nick? John Falk is asking.
The way I've got the lighting set up now, I don't tend to wear one anymore.
Oh.
I used to have lighting up on the ceiling, which used to shine in my eyes a bit. But
I see. Yes,
I've got
an update.
Two nice big panels there. So.
Get you.
You've got some very fancy looking headphones, Nick.
They're not cheap. I've got a whole bunch. I've been through so many over the years. But the nice thing about these is they don't exclude the real world. So if the wife is screaming at me, then I can... Actually, you might say that's an unfortunate.
I don't know. Yeah. It could be any one of the above, I think, to be fair at this point.
Yep.
Bless her.
How are we doing for time, Matt?
We are 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Hang on, let me assist with you on that one and do that.
Oh, I can actually just look
there you go.
slightly over Nick's
Just
left
a
shoulder
quick query when you guys have a moment.
Yes, far away.
How do I find the chat room? Because I'm used to StreamYard, which has it included.
Oh, does it? Okay.
Yes,
Probably the easiest thing to do then, I'm just going to bring my fader down here so that...
You'll just need to open a YouTube page, Nick.
Oh, okay. Yep. New tab. How many P's? Yeah. Forwards. Yeah, I've got that. Okay. PT. Okay. Yep. Okay. Yep. Yeah. Yep. Did not match any documents. P. So do you want me to read it out to you and see if I've cocked up? HTTPS no S. Okay, all right. Ditch the S. So not a secure site. Didn't like that either. No, it's put a space in there where a space shouldn't exist. Right, try once more. Still don't like it. http://ptuk.hop2.org:8089. You,
Right, nearly there. One moment. Just watching the time.
Nothing like a last-minute panic.
no, I don't really need to know.
No, I know.
Well, the other way, Nick, is if you just open up YouTube and go to Plain Talking UK, and then on that you'll see there's a live bit.
Okay.
So you can open the
I'll
live
try
stream.
that
The only thing you'll have to do is make sure you just mute the audio.
Sure.
Although it shouldn't feed back if you're using headphones anyway.
Right, okay. I've sent you a link in an email, which may help. Okay, but here we go.
I don't know what it is with my video angle, but it appears to make me look as though I've got absolutely no shoulders. Good evening and welcome to episode number 602 of the Plain Talking UK podcast. My name is Nick, and in this week's show we've got Starlink updates, a cargo collapse at Bournemouth, a new plane at Bembridge, a very long-haul Airbus, and some United passengers getting their miles in. In the military world, we have another fabulous update from Armando, plus our usual dusty offerings from the back of the Aviation cupboard with our Retro Airline Ad of the week. Joining me this week, he's our resident radio professional, sure to give you a sound bite, but hopefully not too much unpleasant feedback. It's Matt Smith.
Oh dear.
Sorry about that.
I don't know what to do with that information. Indeed. How are you, sir? You all right?
Yeah, not too bad. We're doing things a bit different this week, aren't we?
We are indeed, absolutely. Yes, there's a good reason for that. Sadly, the legend that is Carlos is a little bit, I think it's safe to say, well, I'm going to say he's delirious based on the video that we watched yesterday. But yeah, poor Carlos is not very well at the moment, bless him.
No.
So it's just you and me, and we couldn't have that, frankly, because we needed somebody who actually knew what they were talking about. No offence, Nick, at all whatsoever.
No, none taken. We'll come on to that in a second.
Indeed, yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, sadly we're without Mr. Seat 1A this week. Nev is off on his travels. He's enjoying some time over on the Isle of Wight, and he's actually visiting Richard, who lives over there, one of our friends of the show. Captain Andy, he's apparently off at a work do.
Oh.
Which, yeah, so which for me says he's getting paid to drink beer, which sounds like a very reasonable agreement.
Could be worth.
Beer, lovely beer. We love beer.
But yes, as regular listeners might have noticed, I'm not Carlos. He's been away for a long weekend in his beloved Malta. And I don't know if it's his aversion to Ryanair or the local water or a dodgy pint. But yes, he's called in sick. So in order for us to have somebody here that knows a little bit about aeroplanes and bring a little bit of insight into proceedings, we've called in a favour, and he's come over from the other podcast that we don't talk about.
Yeah, we talk about it.
It's Captain Nick.
You slag it off, you mean?
No.
Hello, gentlemen. Lovely to see you both. And I was just getting a bit short, and since Captain Jeff is a devil for sending me checks made of rubber for my appearance on the APG show, I'm looking forward to getting some real dosh for my appearance tonight. So thank you very much indeed from the PTUK Bank.
Okay.
I'm assuming it's in the Cayman Islands somewhere.
Somewhere
really
like that.
Looking forward to or cash in hand would be fine. But
it might have been flushed away with some of Carlos's offerings.
True enough. Yeah, absolutely. Bless him.
We might have to refer you to our HR department, Nick.
You've got one. Fantastic. Yes,
I think they're in
that Steph moonlighting as well.
No, I think that's in the Cayman Islands as well, if I'm honest.
Anyway, it's lovely to be back with you guys on the air. Isn't it fun?
Yes.
I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely, yeah, indeed. Same rules apply as always. Lots of great stories to go through. And Nick, why don't you just? How am I going to do this? By the way, we'll have to call one Captain Nick and one Nick.
Yeah, that works for me.
Yeah,
you could always promote the other Nick.
Okay. What sort of Lance Corporal
I could
or
be,
something?
Second officer or something.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So second officer Nick then is going to take us through some of the people joining us in the chat room this evening.
Yes. So let's have a little look and see who we've got. Now I know that Richard Adams was in there earlier. We do get our usual round of people joining us well before we go on air. So thank you to everybody. We should state that if you are listening to this as an audio podcast, you should come and join us on YouTube, because you can join in with all the fun on the chat room. And we normally try and answer questions, and if there's any amusing little stories or anecdotes, then we'll pop those up. But going from the top, we've got Tanya. Good to see you, Tanya, over in New York. Our good friend John Falk, who's the very kind gentleman who provided us all with beer at the 600th episode. We've got Dr. Mazouz in there, also an APG listener, I believe. Very valuable man. He's got the syndrome. We've got John Jester in there. Nice to see you, John. Darren Smith, Masha, Dirk S. Hi, Dirk. Nice to see you over in Germany. Who else have we got? Mark Priestley as well. So, it's a bit quiet in there this evening. But anyway, good to see you all. So, I think with that, we'll crack on with the first of our news stories, Matt.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so if everybody is ready, then we'll get underway, shall we? Oh, he says. Oh, let's try that. Try this button. This one might work better. Let's give it a go.
The captain has turned on the seatbelt light. Please take your seats and fasten your seatbelts.
And so the first story tonight is a Wizz Air special. And Wizz Air apparently has become the first European ULCC. I think that's ultra-low congestion charge. Or it could be ultra-low cost carrier. Anyway, to adopt Starlink Wi-Fi. Now, we've all heard of Starlink. We've probably all watched the satellites streaming overhead. And it would amuse me if one comes out the sky and hits a Wizz Air aircraft. That really would be fun. Anyway, Wizz Air has announced a major technology upgrade by signing an agreement with Starlink, the satellite internet service provider operated by SpaceX. I'm hoping those satellites stay up better than their last rocket, which we saw blow up on the pad. Yeah, it was a shame, but
Yeah,
it was only a test, though. There was no one involved, so that's great. So they're the first to introduce fleet-wide onboard Wi-Fi across its aircraft, or the first in Europe anyway. The airline revealed on the 8th of June this year that it will become the first European ultra-low-cost carrier to adopt the connectivity solution, with deployment expected to begin next year in 2027. Hungary-based carrier said the move is designed to make high-speed internet accessible to all travelers, rather than limiting the service to premium passengers. That's assuming you can get your laptop out onto your lap and squeeze it in between that and the seat in front, of course. Wizz Air aims to enhance the onboard experience while maintaining its low-cost business model, as competition among European airlines increasingly extends beyond fares. And I must admit, Wizz Air has developed a very good reputation as a decent low-cost carrier across Europe. So I actually wish them well. And of course, one of our great mates, Captain Al, works for them a bit. So that's great, isn't it? They confirmed that every aircraft in its fleet will eventually receive Starlink equipment, creating a consistent connectivity experience across its network. The airline serves more than 50 countries and operates hundreds of routes throughout Europe, the Middle East, not so much nowadays, and parts of Asia and Africa. The carrier described the partnership as a significant step in bringing premium style, not actually premium, but premium style services to budget-conscious travelers. According to the airline, passengers will be able to remain connected throughout their journey, whether for work, communication, or entertainment. Does that include when you're told to put all your phones and things away for takeoff and landing? I don't know. Hard to use the internet if you can't have your phone out. He noted that the introduction of onboard internet represents the next phase of that strategy, allowing customers to enjoy reliable connectivity without sacrificing affordable ticket prices. That's good. Starlink uses a network of low Earth orbit satellites to provide broadband internet coverage worldwide. The system's gained popularity amongst airlines because it offers faster speeds and lower latency. It's because there's not a lot of space really between low Earth orbit and airliners. So yeah, that's good. There's only air. Than many traditional satellite-based aviation connectivity solutions, which presumably are ground-based. The agreement places Wizz Air among a growing list of airlines to adopt Starlink. Over the past few years, carriers across North America and Europe have increasingly selected the service to modernize onboard connectivity. In the United States, United Airlines, Southwest Airlines, Alaska, and American have announced plans to deploy Starlink across portions of all of their fleets. Several airlines have cited passenger demand for reliable internet access. This is so that everyone can text their friends and make them jealous because they're flying somewhere nice on an aeroplane. That's really what it's for.
Absolutely.
The technology enables passengers to browse the internet, stream content, send messages, watch pornography, and access online services during flights. As travelers increasingly expect seamless digital experiences, airlines view connectivity as an important competitive advantage. In other words, passengers want it, so put it on board.
Yeah.
The latest announcements also highlights growing momentum among European airlines investing in next-generation connectivity systems. Large airline groups have accelerated efforts to improve onboard internet capabilities as passenger expectations continue to evolve. Major operators, including IAG, International Airlines Group, and Lufthansa Group, have already committed to Starlink-powered connectivity solutions. Their decisions have reinforced the technology's position as one of the aviation industry's fastest growing in-flight internet platforms. Jason Fritsch, Vice President of Starlink Enterprise Sales at SpaceX. God, what a title. His business card must be very long and thin, so he can fit all that in. Welcomed the partnership with Wizz Air and emphasized the benefits of maintaining continuous connectivity for both passengers and crew. Okay, so the pilots will be able to be busy on their iPads while they're flying along. Isn't that wonderful?
Great
the passengers
news.
will be so pleased about that.
Yeah.
He stated that the technology was specifically designed to deliver reliable high-speed internet throughout the flight. And big thanks to Captain Al for sending us the story.
Yeah.
Well done, Al. No backdoor here of trying to promote the airline that you work for. So we think that's wonderful. Yeah. What do we think about that, guys?
I mean, I love the problem for me is that I love the technology. If you see what I mean, I love the idea of sort of being able to check, sort of like listening to things while I'm there, in the air and stuff. But I do get why people get a bit frustrated like this. It's a rare opportunity these days to unplug, isn't it, while you're travelling and transitioning in the air. And whilst I love my technology, do I think this is a good idea? I guess I'm in the minority at the end of the day, but I don't know. What's the matter with looking out the window?
Extent. I agree to a certain extent, but on the other hand, when you're sitting down the back with the cattle, being able to distract yourself from the discomfort of being on a low-cost carrier, anything to help you get through the flight has got to help. If you're in a big airplane in first class, getting the most fabulous meal, lovely wines, then why would you want to go on the internet as well? Just sit back and enjoy the entertainment that's there in the cabin.
Yeah, and I mean, most of the and I guess perhaps this is the low cost issue, isn't it? In the fact that you don't have any IFE on these particular airlines, so I guess it's a way of solving that relatively cost effectively, if you like. So people have got watch. It's a way of sort of doing these bits. I guess. I don't know. Mazouz is suggesting, by the way, that Captain Al can order his chicken nuggets en route now, which I think is a great idea.
That'll help a lot, actually.
Absolutely. That'll help speed things up. I don't know. Does the idea of you having internet access in the air appeal to you in any way? I'm going to ask both Nicks.
I think, it's a bit like with social media, isn't it? I feel like half the reason social media was invented was so that we can gloat to people. And this just gives you another opportunity to say, look at me, I'm going on holiday.
Yeah.
And you're stuck at home while I'm WhatsApping you from 36,000 feet. So,
I think that.
But it's very definitely, it's a sales tool, isn't it, for the airlines? And I think that we're going to see it more and more, that if there is connectivity, I guess it's going to come at a price for some airlines. I think I've got a feeling Emirates were offering it as a complimentary thing, weren't they? But I can't help but feel that on the low-cost carriers, it will come at an additional cost.
I think it was only offered at complimentary for a short period on Emirates, but I might be wrong. I've got a feeling it was access only for an hour or an hour and a half. I suspect we may get an update in a moment if I have got that wrong. So watch this space. But absolutely.
That was a very short period. You mean they offered it across the airline for an hour and a half?
No, per flight.
That wasn't very long at all.
Per flight, sir. Per flight, of course. Yes, I'm sorry. You'd have thought I'd learned that all this time.
I have to agree. Now, if they put it in the good price margin, so you're on a 3-hour flight and they charge you a $5 or a $10, I think it'll get taken up by a lot of people because quite honestly, when are you not on the internet with your phone nowadays? In your car, when you're in the toilet. Everywhere there's an internet availability, and it is going to be kind of something that people are going to expect everywhere in their life. And just because you're on a damned aeroplane, as opposed to British Rail, who I've still yet to make their internet cake actually work once. on my trips up to London on the Southwest. Thank you, Southwest. Get your poop in a pile, please. Yeah.
Yeah, indeed. It's Dirk S is saying that being on an airline is actually a good reason to disconnect intentionally. Yeah, I agree with that a little bit. As I say, I love my technology. I'm the first to say that I love my technology and all that kind of thing. But it is, yeah. Again, if I'm doing low cost for a reasonable period of time, would I feel different about connectivity so that I could at least watch something off my laptop or something like that? Maybe, I don't know. But certainly, I mean, the flight that I did with the Emirates a couple of years ago into Dubai, and their IFE was brilliant. I didn't use my phone at all because it was just, everything I needed was there. So. Yeah.
Well, we're going to stay with Starlink, and we've got another Starlink story for you, Matt.
Oh, lovely. Sharing the love. It's Paddle Your Own Canoe, which is a website that seems to do more and more.
Right, that's our trick. You can't have paddle your own canoe.
Yeah, I pinched it from APG. Sorry about that.
Did you? Right. Okay. Lovely. Oh dear, we're gonna get an HR email now. Thanks, Nick.
Oh, I think so too.
Yeah, absolutely. The headline on this is British Airways pauses ultra-fast Starlink Wi-Fi rollout with just 5 planes equipped. The rollout of ultra-fast Starlink Wi-Fi across British Airways fleet has reportedly been put on hold until the end of October at the earliest because the airline does not have any leeway to keep aircraft on the ground long enough to install the Wi-Fi hardware while still operating its ambitious schedule. British Airways made headlines in March when it announced that it had become the first UK-based carrier to offer passengers free ultra-fast Starlink Wi-Fi and that all passengers can access it via multiple devices. In the following few weeks, British Airways managed to install the Starlink service on 5 of its Boeing 787-8 Dreamliners before the retrofit program suddenly ground to a halt. It feels like BA's intention in starting the rollout was to beat Virgin Atlantic to the punch, although its arch rival has now installed Starlink on its entire fleet of 12 Airbus A350-1000 aircraft compared to BA's 5 planes with Starlink. British Airways intends to initially roll out Starlink on its Boeing 787-8 Dreamliners, as none of these 12 aircraft have ever had Wi-Fi installed since they were introduced into service up to 12 years ago. The airline will then move onto its Boeing 787-9 Dreamliner fleet, as some of these also don't have any Wi-Fi systems installed, before the rollout moves onto other aircraft types, including the Airbus A380 Super Jumbo. The aircraft that have never had Wi-Fi will unfortunately continue flying until British Airways has scheduled routine maintenance for these aircraft. From a technical standpoint, Starlink installation is significantly faster than legacy Wi-Fi systems. As an example of just how quickly the kit can be installed, United Airlines reported that the average installation time for Starlink is a mere 8 hours, around 10 times faster than legacy systems. Other airlines, including Qatar Airways, have also praised the Starlink installation time, managing to roll out the equipment on dozens of aircraft in the same time frame as it has taken British Airways to equip just 5 planes. British Airways needs to install Starlink on more than 300 aircraft, but if it sticks to its current installation rate, the aircraft will only have completed retrofits of around 20% of its fleet by the end of March 2028, which is a deadline they've set themselves. A spokesperson for BA, however, insists that its plan all along was to slow installation through the summer months, coinciding with Starlink installations around planned maintenance. As such, the airline insists that it will meet its deadline. In a statement, a spokesperson for the airline commented that we're proud to be rolling out Starlink, yada yada yada. You get the gist on this one. Sort of delays and stuff. I mean, are they just trying to basically spin it that they were always planning to do it? Do you think they've hit into problems? Maybe, I don't know. I guess we're just sort of guessing at this point. But yeah, they're certainly saying that the slow fit of this new system was planned. I'm not sure.
No, I would probably say yes, they are flying the aircraft and can't afford to keep them on the ground for 8 hours
no.
each. Although, the rate at which they're breaking them or running them into other airplanes and things as they taxi around
Yes.
would seem to suggest that when they go into the hangar to be repaired, you could probably bang it on while it's there.
Yeah.
If they had a one ready to go.
The kit ready to go, as it were.
Yeah, if it only takes 8 hours, and there seems to be no shortage of kit, I think it's all because of perhaps a badly planned update. They haven't perhaps got the engineers to do it, or lots of reasons. But
capacity, all sorts, I suppose. Yeah. Ant Flynn is saying that I've flown 3 times recently to the US from the UK, and I really can't be bothered to connect to anything. I'm hoping they still enforce that people not taking calls on BA flights. Yeah, that's the only other issue with that, isn't it? People chatting away on their mobile devices, using WhatsApp calling or something like that. I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, Dirk S is also saying he can already see the business clowns doing their Teams calls from the plane.
I love that.
Which just sounds absolutely horrendous, doesn't it? Yes, I'm on a plane. Yes, very important. Yeah,
absolutely.
Some people love the sound of their own voice, don't they?
Yeah, they're usually in podcasts.
Yes, absolutely. As I say, but enough about us, eh? Indeed. Nick, you've got the next story now. We're off to the BBC for this one.
Yes. Now, I probably should have given this one to Captain Nick, because this is some of his old
Yeah, I'm looking yearningly at that A340-600 going, I used to fly that very airframe. But no, you carry on.
That actual one, Nick?
Yes, that actual one.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, this is from bbc.co.uk, and the headline is Jobs Lost as Freight Firm Enters Administration. So, an air freight company has entered administration, leading to the loss of 178 jobs. European Cargo Limited launched 6 years ago and is known for converting former passenger aircraft into freight planes, which it later used to transport PPE from Malaysia to the UK during the COVID-19 pandemic. The company is headquartered at Bournemouth, but began running flights from Teesside Airport in March. And it entered administration on Wednesday and blamed its closure on reduced flying activity and rising fuel prices. A spokesperson for the company said that the company has ceased trading and regrettably redundancies are being made. Affected employees are being contacted as a priority, and the joint administrators are focused on supporting them throughout this process, while also engaging with customers, suppliers, creditors, and other key stakeholders. European Cargo's last published financial accounts showed it made a pre-tax loss of $26 million in the year ending 31st December 2024, on top of a $30.6 million, just to keep it with the dollars there, loss from the previous year. Its 2024 accounts also showed it had net liabilities of $41.8 million. News of the administration comes 3 months after European Cargo announced it would create a new base at Teesside Airport. The deal saw 5 flights leave the airport each week, carrying a total of 375 tons of freight. At the time, the airport's managing director, Phil Forster, described the deal as transformational and firmly positioning the airport as a strategic location for aviation, freight, and future investment. A spokesperson for Teesside International Airport said none of its employees would be affected by the collapse, and we remain committed to supporting the aviation freight sector and are in active talks with other global operators. So, Nick, from what I understand, these are obviously your old airline aircraft, and they weren't specifically cargo aircraft, were they? So they were basically passenger aircraft stripped of their seats, but not actually given a cargo conversion.
Yeah, I don't know if there was a cargo conversion that they could have gone to Airbus. Can you strengthen the floors and do everything that's needed to be able to put heavy pallets in the upper deck? Certainly the lower deck, the cargo area is very big on the 600, bigger than a 747-400. So it took a lot of cargo down there, and a lot of volume as well as weight. But on the upper deck, I think it was much harder and an awful lot of manual loading required. So I think whereas most cargo carriers, they can wallet the cargo on and off very quickly because this aircraft really, you're quite right, was a passenger aircraft, and it didn't have a major cargo door, for example, into the upper deck.
Yep.
It took a lot longer to get the aircraft, get everything off and put a new load on, and that slowed everything up, as well as them losing a major contract and not getting a replacement parcel mover. I'm trying to remember the name of the company that they did have a big contract with, but anyway, they decided not to renew, and they couldn't get anyone to replace them, so that made a big hassle. Very sad to see the end of these airplanes, because the 600 was just a wonderful airplane to fly. Loved it, and it was great to see it's still in the air, still very much in sort of Virgin livery, because it looked more or less identical. They just rubbed out the Virgin off the tail. Really, that was
more or less.
That was about it.
Yeah, it's and 4-engine as well, I suppose. So plenty of power there.
Well, you say that, and I've seen that comment a lot on social media. Oh, it's because it's got 4 engines, but look at all the 747s in Atlas and other companies that move cargo. They can make a profit with their 4-engine aircraft. And it's all a matter of making sure you fill the damn thing to capacity, and then you're carrying a much larger load than a twin-engine aeroplane, and you can still make a profit. So if they can do it, you would have thought the 340-600 with a lower fuel burn than the 74s would be better at doing it, but apparently not.
Yeah, there has been a bit of a rumor circulating that Gemma has been asking Carlos to cut back on his Temu purchases. True enough. I don't know if that might be behind part of the
could be
financial difficulties that they've been experiencing.
Could certainly be a factor for sure. Dirk S was saying, by the way, that Captain Al said that the planes had never been properly converted, so no full freight doors for the upper deck, etc. Which are sort of
I don't think there was a conversion design available for the 340s when people started getting rid of them. Airbus went, bad luck. Yeah, but this bunch, because they started moving PPE during the pandemic, and that's pretty lightweight stuff, so they just tossed it into the top half of the airplane where the seats used to be, which was probably fine. But now they're trying to move serious cargo. I think they needed to have had the aircraft properly modified.
Yeah, indeed. I just do you think these aircraft will now be retired? Do you think? Now
I don't think there's much doubt about that.
No, that's a shame, as you say. Especially
it is because it was still possible to. I've seen some great video quite recently taken of them getting airborne out of Bournemouth. Some beautiful 4K video, and boy, does that look a lovely aeroplane.
I bet,
It's
I used to get WhatsApp messages from my son when he was at school over on the Isle of Wight, saying that he would see them coming in into approach into Bournemouth from his classroom window. Probably shouldn't have been texting while he was at school.
No, probably not. But yes.
No, but
I used to enjoy it.
Another person that's going to hopefully make his living looking out of windows, like I do.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, let's hope so.
Indeed, got to look after his dad. You see, that's what it is.
Exactly right. Get him all those cheap tickets.
Absolutely, you keep him to the lifestyle. He's become accustomed. Yeah.
Another Airbus story, and that's coming over to you, Nick. So
thanks very much. I'm trying to see who this is from. EANDT, the jet. Anyway, it's all about an Airbus begins testing passenger aircraft capable of non-stop UK to Australia flights. This is a bit of a joke, really, because there have been direct UK to Australia flights for decades. I mean, they used to do it in I wonder if it was a 747 SP used to do it. And there have been plenty of other aircraft demonstrated the capability. Good heavens, the 340 we've just been talking about, the first 340s, the A340-300. I think it took off from Paris and flew to New Zealand, which would be the equivalent, I guess, of London to Australia. 21 hours. But, of course, a lot of these demonstration flights only carried a handful of passengers. Most of them were the extra crew required to give a break to the pilots up the front. And they often put extra fuel in, bags on board. And extra tanks fitted to do these specialized flights, but quite a few have done the direct one. And a few airlines have been flying. Qantas, for example, has had a direct flight from London to West Coast Perth, which isn't quite as far as going all the way across to Sydney for quite a while. It's just
It's a very long flight, isn't it? That's the thing. I don't know.
Yeah, it is. But then again, if you stop somewhere, get off the aeroplane, or taxi in, get off the aeroplane, kick around the terminal for a couple of hours while they refuel it, and then get back on, that's a pretty long day too. Yeah. Let's see. Qantas operates a non-stop flight to Australia, London Heathrow to Perth. This ultra-long-haul flight operates using a bin liner. The Boeing 787 bin liner, and takes approximately 16 hours, 40 minutes. It's not that long.
No.
I've flown home from Hong Kong for about the same length of time.
Gosh.
If you get stuck in the jet streams that go around the subtropical jets, and it's a bad day for you, can't get your levels, you can have a very long flight time. So this is why I think it's a little bit of a non-story, because these flights already exist. But anyway, let's talk about what Airbus want to tell us. First, of a new breed of aircraft designed to fly for up to 22 hours. How much fun can you have in an aluminium tube with 350 other people? To enable non-stop travel between Australia and the UK has completed its initial test flight. Qantas, Australia's largest airline, has ordered 12 of the modified A350s that can make the flight without needing to refuel. The first of this batch has now completed a test flight in Toulouse. That's where I went to convert to flying Airbuses, and what fun I had down there. It's a lovely part of the world, where it flew for 3 hours and 43 minutes. Not a very impressive flight time for one that's going to go for 22 hours, but there you go. Reached an altitude of slightly over 41,000 feet. Well, obviously didn't have much on board then. The aircraft was fitted with special flight test instrumentation and flowed by an Airbus flight test crew. The 350 1000 ULR, I guess that's ultra long range variant, will be able to travel a distance of almost 10,000 nautical miles once fully deployed, enabling non-stop flights between Sydney and New York and London for the first time. This is made possible primarily by the integration into the aircraft structure of an additional rear center tank that increases its range by roughly 1,000 nautical miles. And it goes on to say, a nautical mile is slightly longer than a standard mile, true, and is used for long-haul flights. No, all the airlines and pilots use it because it takes into account the curvature of the Earth. And I'm going, no, you can make a statute while taking into account the curvature of the Earth if you want to. But yeah, I think he's confusing the fact that it's actually a measurement of degrees of, the grid of longitude and latitude that goes around the world.
Right.
And it's a proportion of that. So it really comes from the old days.
Genuinely didn't know that, Nick. Honestly, that's really, because that was going to be my question. What is the difference between the mile that I know and then the nautical mile, essentially?
Well, yeah. I mean, you obviously don't pick the bit of the where they all squish together at the top of the Earth and the bottom of the Earth. If you go around the Earth horizontally and look at the lines there, you'll find that a degree can be divided up into 60 components, each of which is a nautical mile. That's what the sailors, and in fact, in the days of sailing ships, Captain Cook would have used nautical miles. By the way, the A350,000 ULR features a new galley cooling system. Oh, really? More efficient refrigeration designed for extended flights. Okay, as well as modifications to the cabin's ventilation and temperature control systems. I don't think that's really going to be something that is going to make a huge difference. But it will be nice if people have a nice, comfortable cabin, I guess, for all that length of time. During the first flight, the crew carried out aircraft performance checks, tested the new fuel system. Now, that's the important bit. Make sure that pumps and works properly and doesn't change the CG and doesn't get messed up. This marks the start of 2 months of test flying. Following the flight test, the aircraft will be retrofitted to Qantas's commercial specs, of course, so they'll want to have all the right TV screens in there. First scheduled delivery is April 2027. Now an advanced stage of final assembly and ready to roll off to the paint shop. That's the number 2 aircraft of this configuration. Be followed by the completion of premium 4-class cabin layout and engine installation. Interesting, 4 classes. So you get first class, business class.
That'll pay. It's
nice economy class and nasty economy class. Is that right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
that'll be it.
I think they call it something slightly different, but
but probably being
something about premium economy or something like that. But interestingly enough, everyone's favourite cabin crew, Owen, has just messaged. He's saying, "Woohoo! Better galley cooling." There we are. So I suppose that it's exciting if you're dull as far as you're concerned, but I guess if you're actually working the damn thing, I guess that's good news. Yeah, very true.
John, just stick some dry ice down your trousers.
Oh, I say.
If it keeps you pretty cool.
Right.
This
not in front of the children, no way.
Yeah, exactly right. The only 2 direct flights to London to Sydney have previously occurred and were undertaken in non-commercial aircraft. First was in 1989 when Qantas flew a brand new 747 non-stop London to Sydney on its delivery flight. And they're just emphasising the fact that a lot of the previous demonstration flights, the aircraft have been specially modified and use things like high-density fuel.
Okay.
The 350 1000 ULRs, the 4th passenger variant of the 350, joining the 900, the 900 ULR, and the 1000. Difference between these 4 passenger variants comes down to a balancing act between capability, engine power, and range, depending on the requirements of the airline. Well, that's very true, actually. You have to be very careful how you sort out the engine type you've decided on against the routes you expect to use it, because you make that decision wrong, or you after a while you decide to put the aircraft on a different route and you find it's consuming too much fuel, or has to pull in somewhere for a refuel, then you really have made a bad decision about the choice of aircraft, and it's very hard to change once it's been purchased and is sitting on your flight line.
Absolutely. Darren is saying, by the way, one of the QF Boeing 747-400s did Heathrow to Sydney non-stop, he was saying. It's a long old flight, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I must admit. By the way, we're talking about the 340-600. Apparently, it was Temu parcels. Oh, never an air freight company, just Temu parcels, envelopes, and tat. Says Mr. Smith.
Okay, jolly good. Good to know. Yes, and most of that.
No, I'm Mr.
entirely Carlos's
Anderson,
fault. Yeah.
and this is Mr. Smith. Is
Right.
he one of the agents?
He might be, yes.
The Matrix?
Mr. Anderson. Yes, absolutely. That's my best impression I can do from the Matrix. I'm not going to.
Very good.
He was saying, "Oh yes, absolutely." Just TV passes, envelopes, and tat. Basically everything that Carlos purchases. So it is entirely his fault. I suspect.
Indeed. Yes.
Indeed. Okay. We'll move on to the next story then, and I think this one is with me, Nick. Is that right?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. Aircargonews.net is the source on this one. And the headline is a UK museum is to restore historic cargo aircraft. Oh, this is good news, isn't it? We do love them to get restored. Aviation and Aerospace Museum. Aerospace Bristol has begun conserving and reassembling the last remaining Bristol freighter aircraft in Europe. The Bristol Freighter Type 170 with serial number November Zulu 5911 is one of just 12 freighters still in existence and the only one remaining in Europe. Designed and built in Bristol in the late 1940s and early 1950s by the Bristol Aeroplane Company, the freighter had twin 2000 HP 14-cylinder piston engines matched to 4 bladed propellers alongside a wide opening clamshell nose door and a 108-foot wingspan. It was capable. It's very easy for me to say. It seems it was capable of carrying cargo ranging from vehicles to livestock, and was later adapted for passenger travel as the Wayfarer. The aircraft was also the first post-war aircraft to receive an unrestricted certificate of airworthiness and played an important role in advancing aviation technology and operations worldwide. It served with the Royal New Zealand Air Force's number 41 Squadron from 1955, operating across Southeast Asia during the Cold War and Vietnam War era in the 1970s. The aircraft was returned to Bristol in 2018 following a major international recovery effort led by Aerospace Bristol volunteers and supported by partners including the Association for Industrial Archaeology. Having spent decades in storage in New Zealand, it is now being slowly brought back to life next to the very location at which it was originally designed and built. There's something quite beautiful about that synergy, I think. The aircraft will be carefully moved out from its current museum hangar to be reassembled and displayed safely outdoors, as it will be too big to be accommodated inside once the wings have been reattached. The final phase of conservation will include extensive corrosion removal, weatherproofing, and a long-term conservation plan to ensure the aircraft's protection. The project will be delivered by a dedicated team of between 20 and 50 highly skilled volunteers, many of whom are former airspace engineers and ex-employees of the Bristol Aeroplane Company. Together, they are expected to contribute more than 10,000 hours to the work. Once complete, the aircraft will form the counterpiece of a new outdoor exhibition, enabling visitors to get up close to the freighter via viewing platforms and access points to the cockpit. The display will be supported by interpretation materials, live talks, and opportunities to talk to the volunteers behind the conservation. Lovely idea, I think.
Yeah, I wonder how many people listening have flown in a Bristol freighter, because when I was a little boy, the old man took the family and the car across from probably somewhere like Blackbush over to Amsterdam.
Oh, wow.
And we went across for I think it was just for the day, and flew home in a Carver. So I've travelled in both a Bristol freighter and a Carver. But
amazing.
Those of us that have experienced it, I think, are few and far between nowadays.
Yeah,
that's really cool. Matt, I've just sent you an image, because unfortunately the story didn't have any decent photos of the aircraft. So I don't know if you're able to.
I'm attempting it. Just bear with me a moment.
Sorry,
you're
we'll talk
right.
amongst ourselves.
Yeah, talk amongst yourselves for a minute. I'll give this a go. I mean, so many aircraft we're sort of losing, aren't we? Where people have, I'm trying to think. Where was it Neil Langwarn where he was doing a lot of work, and the airfield essentially where everything was all there was just sort of like sold essentially, and so
was that Bruntingthorpe? Or
yeah, I think so.
Somewhere up your way.
Was it the Guppy? No, the
Super Guppy up there.
That's it. Yeah,
we used to meet those blokes regularly, and they were always full of their lovely aeroplane.
Yeah,
I used to think it was an ugly beast, but what my opinion is not important.
No, it's not. It isn't on this occasion. And here we go. This is the picture. It's not the brilliant quality, sadly. It's a little bit pixelated, but it gives you an idea of what the thing looks like. It's weirdly, it's a fascinating aircraft, I think.
Yeah, a tail dragger, which is not the easiest thing to fly, but that whole that nose cone used to swing to one side, and they put a ramp there, and you just drive your car straight inside. And then, if I'm not mistaken, there was a bunch of passenger seats on an upper deck.
Oh, wow.
So it was a sort of 2-deck thing.
I'm trying to imagine how many cars there would be in there.
Oh, only about 3.
It just seems a bit bonkers, doesn't it? I can't imagine anyone running a service like that these days.
Well, I think the only reason the old man could afford it was because he got staff travel perks. And he could get a 90% ticket with them. But
okay. Well, that's pretty cool.
Absolutely. It's forgive my naivety on this one, Captain, but what makes them so difficult to fly in comparison?
What, the tail draggers?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It's mainly to do with I guess the landing phase, because you've got to get it absolutely right. They're very hard to handle in a crosswind, because the nose wheel you can actually use to steer the airplane. The tail wheel, kind of probably not. I don't know if there were ever aircraft with a steerable tail wheel, and it's very easy for the tail wheel to lift off, so it wouldn't be much point trying to make it steerable. They usually just caster. So yeah, your ground handling is not easy. The nose wheel, the proper tricycle undercarriage, is a much simpler form of undercarriage for flying. It's easier to learn to fly them, and simpler to move them around on the ground. So they did fall out of, particularly in very large airplanes, they fell out of use quite quickly after the war.
Have you done any tail wheel flying, Nick?
Oh, Chipmunk would be about it. I mean,
me too.
I seem to recall that the hardest thing there was when you opened the engine, the airplane swerved off to one side, and when you lifted the tail off, it would used to swerve off to the same side again. So there were 2 areas of major concern, particular to the tail wheel, to do with the gyroscopic effect of the propeller spinning. And when you lifted the fuselage, you obviously put a gyroscopic force on the propeller, translate that through 90 degrees, and it turns into a yawing moment. So that was the one of the issues. And the other is trying to get the thing to land properly. You've got to be right on speed and in the right attitude to get a nice 3-point landing. Some people would try and land it on the wheels and then just roll on to the back wheel, but it not nearly as easy as a nose-wheeled airplane.
No, indeed. Tanya thinks they're cute, by the way. I tend to agree with her. I think they do look quite cute.
Not as cute as a chipmunk, though.
No, of course not. Absolutely.
No, the only problem with the chipmunk was the smell of vomit.
Lovely. Okay.
Yeah, and you had to sit on your parachute as well.
Indeed, and you had to waddle out to the aeroplane.
Yes, looking like you'd done something in your trousers.
Lovely.
Exactly.
Okay. Oh, I have quite
may
the
or may
image.
not be topical with Carlos's ailment.
No.
We won't dwell on that.
No. Let's not upset him. Bless him. Nick, I think you've got the next story with this one. This is story number 6, and it's all about campaigns for the summer.
Yeah, well, this is a topic that we do seem to cover quite a bit on the podcast, isn't it? And we have spoken quite a bit about disturbances in flight and people having a couple too many. So this one comes from travelweekly.co.uk, and the headline is Aviation Sector Revives One Too Many Campaign for the Summer. The UK aviation industry's One Too Many campaign has been relaunched for 2026, warning passengers about the consequences of disruptive behaviour. Industry leaders are renewing calls for holidaymakers to act responsibly, highlighting that disruptive conduct can carry serious legal and financial consequences. The One Too Many campaign, entering its 8th year, is a joint initiative led by the UK Travel and Retail Forum, Airports UK, Airlines UK and IATA. It warns that passengers can face up to 2 years in prison for disrupting a flight, a fine of up to £80,000 for causing a mid-air diversion, and a £5,000 fine for delaying an aircraft departure. Further penalties include a lifetime ban for causing a flight cancellation and denied boarding if deemed unfit to fly. The 2026 campaign will feature across more than 20 UK airports, including Heathrow, Gatwick, Glasgow, Liverpool, Manchester, Luton, London City and Birmingham, combining an in-terminal advertising with targeted digital and social media messaging aimed at passengers throughout their journey. Aviation, Maritime and Decarbonisation Minister.
You need to decoke my engine.
He's got another one with a funny shaped business card.
Yeah, very much so.
Keir Mather said millions of people will travel through UK airports this summer, and everyone deserves to do so safely and without fear of other passengers behaving poorly. The vast majority of passengers behave responsibly, but incidents involving disruptive behaviour can have serious consequences for fellow travellers, crew and airport staff. That's why we're proud to support the One Too Many campaign once again, working closely with the aviation industry to remind passengers that antisocial, disruptive and dangerous behaviour will not be tolerated. By making the risks and consequences clear, we can help ensure journeys get off to the right start and that everyone can travel with confidence. So I think, we're all in agreement here, aren't we? That, there needs to be more done in order to highlight the fact that there are consequences to disruptive behaviour. We had a story, didn't we? Was it last week or fairly recently, where there were talks about there being a kind of an industry-wide database of being able to ban people from travelling if they are found to be disruptive on board. It kind of feels like things are moving in the right direction with these kinds of initiatives.
Yeah. I mean, I'm the first to admit, as I say, it's the only time when I'm going on holiday, it's the only time where I will partake in a pint of cider at 6:30 in the morning, and that's when I'm going on holiday.
You and me both.
Absolutely. It's the only time I will do it, but I've never... It's literally only ever been a pint, and it's more about the novelty, I think, of the fact that you're in an airport.
Well, the fact is if you're getting a 6:30 flight, you've been up since 3,
yeah,
so
true
it's
enough.
basically the middle of the day.
It's basically lunchtime, essentially. But, and I think the whole thing with this, again, for me, is it's the minority spoiling it for the majority. So the majority, virtually everyone else, is enjoying a drink, getting their holiday off to a positive start, getting on a plane and going to the place that they've been looking forward to for the last 6-8 months, sometimes 2 years in my case with one holiday. And just the fact that, just somebody spoiling it because they can't handle their drink or they're not being responsible and all that kind of thing. I just think, if this is one way of making sure that they don't I don't think, I might be wrong. Captain Nick, I'd be interested in your thoughts. Do you think we're ever going to be in a scenario where they ban out alcohol on flights?
No, because it's something that is expected, and of course, the things that you provide on a flight are part of the attraction of for you to pick an airline. Oh, I flew on such and such airline. They had a great service, lovely wines, etc., etc. I flew with him, and he's got Yorkshire bitter, and I love that. So, but I'm a great believer in thoroughly enjoying your flight.
Yeah.
I'm also a great believer in not getting so drunk that you start picking fights, because there's nothing wrong with having a few beers before or even on the flight, so long as you can handle your alcohol and you don't allow yourself to become disruptive and start doing completely stupid things. And it's that crossing that line, and it's a very clear line that the cabin crew can see, but when you've had a few, that line becomes very blurred. So it's probably best to just err on the safe side and not go mad. And those fines, if you've had to divert, that is a huge sum of money that you might be fined. And the courts are taking real note of this, and they're really hitting hard on passengers that are particularly disruptive.
Indeed.
And certainly if they have done something stupid like attack a member of the cabin crew or even other passengers, that is just complete no-no. But it's been part and parcel of the industry that we have to have restraint kits on board, and that the cabin crew are trained in the techniques to bring people down, to restrain people safely, and then if the captain deems it necessary, a diversion, and then the courts get involved, and huge fines and imprisonment can result. So it's a dreadful way to spoil this fantastic holiday you're about to go on.
Agreed.
So I just want people to really become a bit more grown up about it. You start your holiday when you get to the airport, buy some duty free, whatever, have a beer and with your breakfast, and just know when to draw the line.
Mazus is actually asking a really interesting question. He's asking, has Captain Nick ever had to take drastic action for a disruptive passenger?
Not drastic action. I've certainly spoken to a few in the days before 9/11, when I used to go put my jacket on and my hat on and go down and give passengers a dressing down because they were being disruptive. And in one case, it was some very well-dressed gentlemen, two of them, who had decided to have a few drinks and then upgrade themselves into upper class and refused to leave these vacant seats that they found. We were going to Hong Kong, and it was very easy to get them to settle down, because I said, I don't know why you're going to Hong Kong, but looking at the way you're dressed, you're in there for something fairly important and highbrow. I wonder how your employers will feel when I have the Hong Kong police escort you off the aircraft and prosecute you. And that sort of, they both settled down big time after that. But so, that usually seeing someone of the absolute authority on the aircraft, usually seeing them has enough. But I also know that there are people who would completely ignore that, and it might even encourage them to take one step forward and take a swing at the captain. So I think it depends entirely on the passengers you're talking about. Luckily, on my outfit, I won't say we had a better class of passengers, but they often behaved better than I gather my fellows in the charter world to deal with.
Indeed. Jason Trussell was saying in the chat room, actually, he was saying that if you do have to do a diversion or whatever reason because you've caused that much disruption to the flight, then definitely a lifetime ban, I think, should be on the cards. And that's really what this story is all about, isn't it? Is
it'll be difficult
database
to enforce, to get all the airlines to agree, because you've really got to have it well policed, because you get someone of the same name who's trying to buy a ticket and their name pops up and you get the wrong person and you refuse travel. You're going, what? And it does happen. Can of worms. It does, and you've got to get all the airlines to agree. Otherwise, it doesn't really work.
Indeed, agreed. So I think, is it the next one with me, Nick?
No, it's with Captain Nick, actually.
Oh, love that.
Yeah.
Is this about new laws? From the Manchester Evening News. There you go. New laws for airlines and airports will affect all passengers flying from the UK. There you go. I didn't know there were going to be some new laws. Well, let's find out. The UK government has announced new rules for airports and airlines that will affect all passengers. Just said that. The new laws are aimed at modernising aviation. Ooh, that sounds exciting, and protecting passengers. The Civil Aviation Bill, which moved to its second reading in Parliament today, and that was on the 2nd of June, represents the first major overhaul of British flight paths in nearly 70 years. Officials warned that without these interventions, flight delays across the UK could spike by as much as 200% by the year 2040. Now, the Civil Aviation Authority will receive beefed-up enforcement powers under the changes. For the first time, the regulator will be legally permitted to issue financial penalties to airlines and airports that systematically fail to support passengers during disruptions. Airlines will also be held accountable for the provision of mandatory food and accommodation during disruptions, and guarantee accessibility services and dignified treatment for disabled passengers. This is quite an interesting one, because I followed a few of these stories of some reporters, one of which I think is a wheelchair user, and how appallingly he was dealt with trying to get off his aircraft in Heathrow. And I'm in agreement entirely with him. There needs to be more facilities and more care taken to ensure that those who aren't able to just get up and walk off the aircraft are still treated efficiently and with dignity. So we're proud of the strong, reliable experience our sector delivers day in, day out for the passengers, and we're clear no one should be let down when they travel. That's why we are giving the CAA new enforcement powers, including the ability to issue fines on the rare occasions airlines and airports don't meet passenger rights obligations. I was pretty sure that the European system had some pretty strict things. Now, whether because after Brexit, we no longer obey those regulations, but this may be plugging that hole, which would be good. I don't know if that's the case or not. The primary driver of the bill is the critical need to update the UK's heavily congested airspace. That's kind of a completely different subject. Rather than passenger disruption, we're now talking about fitting more aircraft into the airspace. Backed up by new government mandates, the recently informed UK Airspace Design Service. I wonder if our friend Adam knows anything about this. I would have thought so, because this was very much his sort of job up there at Heathrow. Has already begun redrawing congested flight paths around London, with changes slated for implementation by the mid-2030s. The government estimates that streamlining these flight paths into major hubs like Heathrow and Gatwick will create quicker and more direct approaches, subsequently lowering fuel consumption, reducing average noise pollution, and improving localized air quality. All of which sounds great. But, it's a bit like building the M25. It becomes such a wonderful idea until it just fills up like all the other roads. Let's just see what happens. Additionally, the Transport Secretary will gain new powers to reform the current allocation of airport takeoffs and landing slots ahead of a wider system review scheduled for later this year. Not very many specifics. I would love to know how they plan to redirect traffic, because very much as you come over Ireland on your way towards off the Atlantic towards London, you're currently under on radar headings, and the whole of the airspace is usually available. It's not like you're really being heavily constricted at the moment, and all the time more and more advanced techniques to control your speed off the Atlantic and into London, to make sure that rather than going round around a hold, that you just arrive more smoothly. It's a bit like the variable speed limits on the M25. If you slow people down early, they don't get bunched up and they don't have to then go into a hole. And I know that air traffic controllers use that technique already. I don't know what is going to be new, but let's find out. And the other bit of it, of course, is, for years, airlines have been expected to provide some food and accommodation if flights are delayed excessively or even cancelled until they can get another flight. And the fact that airlines aren't doing that is a real worry, because that should have been
they should be doing
the case for years. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And certainly for disabled passengers, all the airports need to make sure that they handle that area a lot more sensitively and a lot more efficiently.
I mean, that having been said, I've had special assistance with my mum on a number of occasions, and I have to say, when it does work, it works. We've only had very positive experiences using the special assistance to get my mum on and off the aircraft. It's certainly been done with respect and dignity. I suppose the only challenge is the airport, the airline are merely requesting the service from the airport, aren't they? And that's the thing. And I guess that's where the risk of inconsistency is perhaps transparent, obvious here. Some companies are better than others.
Yeah, I don't know if you can pick and choose your service provider, and if that includes the handling of disabled passengers. So I don't know I don't know, or whether the airport just provides one service for everybody. I'd need to look into that a bit. But
it's one I can say with some actual confidence on this one. It is one company that is contracted by the airport to provide the service. So
and everyone has to use it.
And everybody has to use it.
Yeah. I must admit, coming in occasionally, we used to have to wait a significant length of time for them to pitch up to get our wheelchair passengers off. And because the captain has to be the last to leave, I used to sit around the cabin and chat to these people and apologize. And it used to take sometimes 45 minutes or an hour after the rest of the passengers had got off before we could get sufficient wheelchairs to get everybody else off. And that is completely unacceptable.
Yeah.
And whenever it happens, the passengers needs to be compensated and the airport needs to be fined, because that's the only way you're going to get a better service. If it's more expensive to make a mess or not have enough employees than it takes to employ enough people to do the job properly, then that's what the trigger point, I think, of when the airport will actually get enough people and make their service efficient enough to deal with everything. Yeah,
definitely. As you say, it's the only way to sort of only way to get the action, I think, there. As I say, we've used it a number of times when we've flown, admittedly with EasyJet out of Stansted and into Belfast International, and I have to say the service that we've had at both Stansted and Belfast International so far has been brilliant. There's been no delays. We did it out of Luton once as well, I think, and it was very good. So that's great. We've had very positive. It's nice to hear. It's nice to hear people with a good experience. Yeah, indeed. But definitely much work still required. Indeed. So on to the next story then, and this is aerotime.aero, the source for this one, and the headline is Britain Norman says first fully UK-built Islander close to completion. Don't really understand the story at this stage, but hopefully it will become clear. Britain Norman says that the first fully UK-built Islander aircraft, is nearing completion, with work on a second plane already underway at its Bembridge facility on the Isle of Wight. Oh, lovely. We'll have to send Richard Adams and Nev immediately
out to interview them.
Out into the field immediately, Nick. Get that one arranged.
Good idea.
Yeah. On the 8th of June, Britain Norman confirmed that the first new Islander to be produced through its fully restored UK production line had reached 75% completion. The second airframe is now nearing 25% complete on the line, and components for follow-on aircraft are already in manufacturing. Final assembly of the first Islander is scheduled in the coming weeks, followed by delivery to the Falkland Islands Government Air Service later this year. Reaching the current level of completion is an excellent achievement for our team and a clear demonstration of the capability we have built at the Bembridge site. Richard Milne, the CCO at Britain Norman, said that each milestone and stage of completion brings us closer to delivering brand new British-built Islanders for our customers. The dedication and quality of work achieved by our team is outstanding. The story goes on, but Nick, I mean, I know you as in NIC, not Captain Nick. I know that our first officer, I should say, you spend a lot of time on the island. I mean, how much do you know about this? I mean, I feel this is quite exciting.
Well, so and funnily enough, my son and I have a regular cycle mountain bike route that we go to, and we will end up at Bembridge, and we go and watch the.
You could probably bicycle faster than one of these, couldn't you?
Just about. But yeah, we'll go and sit and have our lunch and watch the planes coming and going there. And I think you know the propeller in there, don't you, Matt?
I do, yeah.
Had lunch there, so it's quite a popular place for GA. But the Britain Norman factory has been there quite a long time and was, I think, kind of mothballed for quite a long period. So yeah, it's only been, I'm going to say, in maybe the last 18 months or so that they've resumed production there, and it's great to see it, because there, apart from anything else, there's not a great deal of manufacturing industry on the Isle of Wight. It's nice for them to be resuming a kind of some manufacturing that is quite historic for the Isle of Wight and for that location. Now, what I do seem to recall Nev saying is that unfortunately the completed aircraft, or the aircraft that are close to completion, actually get taken out and taken over to Leon Solent over on the mainland for them to be finally completed before being flown out. So that, unfortunately, they don't fly out of Bembridge itself, which is quite a pity. Whether or not that might happen at some point in the future, perhaps once they've got a bit more capability there.
I think they should definitely push for that, don't you? I think that's, if you're doing a huge amount of the assembly on the island, it seems a real shame that it's not flying.
It does, and it's the factory itself is, it's meters from the edge of the airfield. It's right on the edge of the airfield, so it would make a lot of sense, and I would imagine that it's probably part of why there is a decent tarmac airstrip there. Would be, because of that historic manufacturing that's occurred there in the past.
So I mean, when it comes to GA and stuff, my knowledge is absolutely rubbish. I'm the first to admit that. Is what sort of aircraft is this particular? Are we talking sort of? Well, I suppose it's bigger than a Cessna, obviously, because it's two engines by the look of it.
Yeah, so it's a high wing aircraft. What would you say, Captain Nick, would be a sort of typical use case for an aircraft like this?
Well, they used to fly around the Scottish Islands. That was a classic place for them. We've had them in Ireland. I think the Coast Guard there used some. They've multiple uses for government service, for passenger service. I think they can take about 12 or 15
Okay.
passengers. And they used to build a Trilander, which had a third engine mounted in the fin. And I was always amused by that, because the first thing the first officer had to do after landing was rush out the back with a metal pole and prop up the tail, so that as the passengers got off, it didn't sit on its arse. Talking of that, they're going to the Falkland Islands now. They have a history of operating islanders down there, which is great, but it's a pretty remote place to get them to. I'm just wondering what route they're going to fly to deliver, and that would be an exciting trip
Presumably
to follow.
they won't be going via Argentina.
Well, probably not, but you never know. They might. Yeah, I expect they'll go down the sort of east coast of South America until they get a good launching point. But they go to the Falkland Island Government Air Service, and now I'd just like to know whether that's called FIGAS or FIGAS. I'm just, wondering about that. But no, I think
I
it's
stayed
brilliant.
away from it. I just read out the full.
Of course you did. Of course you did. No, the Islander has been around since I was a youngster, and I think it's absolutely brilliant to see them still being made. Hopefully, they've updated the avionics, and they've got some more fuel-efficient engines, that kind of stuff. But it looks, from that picture you got there, the very similar airplane. Not quite as boxy as the Caravan, but still a great looking airplane, and ideal for low cost sort of remote operation. They can work off pretty rough strips. You get a lot of them out in Africa, and great to see that the company is still building them. I think that's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I love it. I think as I say, I think it's great. It's great for the island as well. I think. Let's hope, as you say, let's hope they can sort of get them completed so that you can actually fly them out of the Isle of Wight as well. I think that would be a really lovely way of sort of completing the cycle, if you see what I mean.
But I didn't realise that Britt Norman had actually moved their manufacturing out to Romania.
Oh.
But now apparently Romania is so expensive, they've gone back to the Isle of Wight, where they can build them cheaper.
There's a scary
what's the
thought,
average
isn't it?
wage in the Isle of Wight then? They're obviously not very high.
Well, I would imagine national living wage, of course.
Of course. Romania's cost of living must have gone up a lot.
A little bit, yes. About the
can't afford to build them there anymore.
No, indeed. Well, as I say, good news for the island. Let's.
I think it's fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a good aviation history on the Isle of Wight. From Supermarine and all those old things that I remember. Yeah, it's great.
Absolutely. So on to the last story in our commercial section for this evening, and this one is with you, Nick. It's a different story, to be sure.
Yeah, well, we always like to try and finish off with our and finally story. This was about as good as I could manage this week. Unfortunately, nothing about anyone with any intimate burns or any poo.
No, shame.
Anything of that nature. But there we
Is
go.
that what you normally cover?
Well, we had a really good one last week.
Yes.
I specifically put it in for Nev because I know that he enjoys these.
He went a funny colour and everything. It was.
He did.
It was quite.
It was very good. Worth watching back on YouTube.
Yeah.
So this one comes from the bulkheadseat.com, and the headline is United Superfans fly to all 7 hubs in a single day. A group of roughly 70 United Airlines enthusiasts and frequent flyers took on one of commercial aviation's most unusual challenges by attempting to visit all 7 of United's hub airports in a single day. Known as the UA7 Hub Run, which presumably is a bit like the Kessel Run. The annual event challenges participants to fly through every United hub within 1 calendar day. While not officially organised by United Airlines, the carrier has embraced the event, which has quickly become a favourite among aviation enthusiasts and elite Mileage Plus members. So the ambitious United itinerary includes 6 flights and 7 hubs. So it's Newark Liberty International to Washington Dulles, Washington Dulles to Chicago O'Hare, Chicago O'Hare to Houston George Bush International, Houston to Denver, Denver to Los Angeles, and Los Angeles to San Francisco. So the challenge began smoothly enough with the first flight from Newark to Washington arriving ahead of schedule. However, things quickly unraveled when the second flight from Washington to Chicago suffered a maintenance-related delay of more than 2 hours, and that delay threatened to derail the entire event. By the time participants arrived in Chicago, their connection to Houston should have already departed, but fortunately for the hub runners, United operations team worked to keep the challenge alive, and the flight was held for more than 2 hours. I bet the other people on that flight weren't very happy. Should have left by now. Allowing the group to make their connection. Subsequent flights throughout the day were also delayed, with some recovering a small amount of time, while others added to the growing disruption. By the end of the marathon, the group had accumulated approximately 8 hours of collective delays across a 6-flight journey. Despite the setbacks, the final flight from Los Angeles to San Francisco landed at approximately 11:18 p.m., giving participants just enough time to complete the challenge before midnight. The delays sparked debate about whether United intentionally held flights to keep the challenge alive. United's Connection Saver technology routinely evaluates whether flights should be delayed briefly to accommodate connecting passengers, while most holds are measured in minutes. The unique circumstances of this event involved around 70 passengers travelling together, which represents a significant portion of some of the flight loads. Leaving that many customers behind would have created a major rebooking challenge across the network, and United has never officially stated that it held flights specifically for the hub runners, but the airline was clearly aware of the event. Participants reported gate celebrations, commemorative swag, and enthusiastic support from employees throughout the day. The hub run was created by United superfan Million Miler Carl Brothers, who helped launch the event last year. Many participants are among United's most loyal customers, including numerous Premier 1K and Global Services members. And for some, the challenge is an elaborate mileage run. For others, it's simply an opportunity to share a memorable aviation experience with fellow enthusiasts. Regardless of the motivation, completing 7 hubs in a single day requires determination, patience, and a little help from the airline.
Sounds like it became a bit of a hub crawl in the end.
Yeah. I think...
if you did it in the UK, it'd be a pub crawl, wouldn't it?
Well, probably. Yeah, everybody would just be stuck in Wetherspoons in the terminal, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
I don't know. It feels like the opportunity for this to go wrong is probably quite large, as was proven to be the case.
Yep, I'm afraid so.
So there we go. I don't know. I quite like the idea of doing stupid stuff like this, though. It's kind of appeals to the the sort of part of my character that likes doing stupid challenges, I think. But it's kind of pointless. You have to wonder how much it would have cost to have bought all the tickets to complete this.
I expect most of them were doing it with their air miles, by the sounds of it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
You fancy a go at that, Matt?
No.
Okay.
I wouldn't mind one going right round the world. I think a few people have done one of those, which sounds like fun. But I'd want to stop off on the way. That's the problem.
Yeah, true enough.
Of course, they do still fly the 757 with United, Matt.
Oh, excellent. All the more reason not to go anywhere near the damn route.
Yes, I must admit that's one airplane I have no wish to fly in again.
Love that. Oh, I'm glad I'm not alone for a change. This is
certainly not.
Normally I'm picked on for this. Normally I get picked on for this for not being a fan, because I still maintain that the 757 I was on tried to kill me on both legs of my journey into New York. So
kill you on both legs?
Yeah. Was it? Yes. Was it New York?
It was a bit cramped, was it?
Was it New York, or was it the? Oh, it was going to Pittsburgh, I think.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that
All
was
that-
a long time ago.
That was a very long time ago.
But that
Let's
was
not
a
dwell on
great
that.
weekend.
Yeah, it was a great. Yeah, it was a very long way to go for like 3 days though. It was amazing though.
But there were
I
some of
think
the
that was
nicest people in the world were there.
very much so. Actually, I think it's the first time we met properly. I think.
It could well have been, actually, yes. We
absolutely.
certainly, made a lot of good friends there, that's
Definitely.
for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Nick, I wonder if I could trouble you to introduce what for some people is the favourite part of the show.
That being Captain Nick, not me, Nick.
Oh, Captain Nick.
Oh,
sorry.
okay.
Yes, sorry.
Is this retro ad of
That's
the week?
the one. Yes, absolutely. We've got 2 little belters for you this week.
All right. Okay. This week, then, we head back to 2007, not that far ago, but there you go, and to a US airline that's not saying goodbye to blankets or crew. Or are they? Then we rewind to 1985.
Thank you.
Ah,
Sorry.
didn't realize that there was going to be video in the gap.
Yeah, no, sorry.
Sorry.
That's my fault. That's my fault.
Do you want me to start again?
Yeah, let's do that again, and then I'll fix it in post.
Sure. This week, we head back to 2007 and to a US airline that's not saying goodbye to blankets or crew, or are they?
And then read the next one.
Then we rewind to 1985 and to a British airline that isn't the same as other airlines. And no, it's not BA.
Bye now. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
While other airlines are saying goodbye to pillows, blankets, and meals, Continental is still giving you everything you should expect from an airline.
Bye-bye.
Hey, Julie.
Hi, Danny.
Continental Airlines. Work hard, fly right.
Today we are flying a 747.
Flying a 747. A 747.
747.
Most airlines fly the same planes.
Steak or chicken?
Or steak. Or chicken.
Oh, steak.
Most airlines serve identical food
Please, fly with us again.
Fly with us again. Fly with us again.
Fly with us again.
and charge the same fares on the same routes.
Please.
All but one. Virgin Atlantic to New York.
What do you recommend?
Actually, I prefer the fish.
Our standards are as good as, if not better than other comparable airlines. It's only our fares that are lower. Virgin Atlantic. We cut fares, not corners.
Well, there we are. It's almost like Carlos has chosen those especially for you, Nick. That one, anyway. That last one.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I love that. That was the original uniform colours and
wow.
aircraft colours as well. That looks great.
So 1985. So how long would the airline have been going for at that point?
Oh, about 1,000 miles.
Oh, wow. Okay. God. Very young at that point then. Yeah, absolutely.
I'd have to think about that because I joined in 94, and shortly after I joined, we had our 10-year celebration over at Richard's place,
Oh, wow.
his mansion. What a great weekend that was,
Yeah, I bet it
because
was.
everyone was invited. Everything was free. They had fun fairs and things for the kids, go-karts, and they had rock bands all night if you wanted to stay overnight, and all the food was free, and it was just a brilliant weekend. So that would have been about 1985, the beginning of
sort of
Virgin's life.
Yeah, indeed. So it must have been sort of, as you say, like in its first year then, almost with.
Yeah, I would say so. That it really is going back. That's brilliant.
Love that. Is there any particular lasting memory for you and your time at Virgin, Nick? It's so weird that we can say that, by the way. I know you've been retired a while, but because we always used to have to skirt around it, it's very sort of strange to just be able to say the actual airline.
That's very true. Yeah, I know. I'm still writing Plain Tales of my time there, and I've just got up to the point in those where I'm about to start command training, and just in those first few years, I am, recalling some memorable moments. But, we were just blossoming in those days because in those first few years, the airline had more than doubled in size. and we'd adopted all the Airbuses, and all the aircraft now were getting to be brand new. We only had a few of the old 74s. We were buying new 747-400s. Everything was bright and shiny and new uniforms, and it was a very exciting time for the airline. So it was a great airline to join. And I tell you what, the average age of an airline, when I joined, was about 5 years, because so many airlines went bust in their early years. The fact that the company has been going since around 1985 to now, that's 40 years plus now, I think is remarkable, and a great tribute to the spirit of all the people who work there, really, because I think that's the most important thing. Apart from having nice, bright, shiny airplanes and going to nice places, it's the people that run it, how efficient it is, and how much you enjoy your flight that makes the difference. And Virgin were able to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Something.
It's funny to think, Nick, that you might very well have flown me at some point.
Oh, I might have done if you were a regular.
Well, I wasn't really a regular, but I did fly on Virgin a reasonable amount for a period of time. Did you have any sort of particular routes that you favoured?
Well, it was all Airbus, and you weren't so much the ones you favoured, but in the early days, we did Hong Kongs and Tokyos very regularly, and we didn't do so much of the American routes because that was generally 747s into the holiday destinations. But LA became our regular when that opened up, and San Francisco, as well as down to Florida, not quite so much, but the East Coast in New York and Boston was also a regular, and then down to Joburg and Cape Town. There was another place that was almost all Airbus stuff.
Yeah, I definitely did Los Angeles a couple of times on a 340.
I used to go to LA so often that I joined the Pasadena Lawn Bowling Club as a member. and I used to leave a set of lawn bowls down there. So on my days off, I used to go and play with the lawn bowlers there, which was great fun, because Americans playing lawn bowls, I thought, was just the funniest thing you can imagine.
They certainly had the weather for it out there.
Well, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I play all year round. Absolutely.
Definitely.
So did you go straight in on Airbus, Nick?
Yep. I was recruited onto them because they acquired 12 that were due to go to, I think, Northwest. Northwest cancelled. And so Airbus had these 12 340s sit there, and Richard bought them en masse and just dumped them on the company. And the people who actually did the physical running of the company said, hang on, we have only got Boeings. We've got no Airbus pilots or anything to fly these damned airplanes, and they're arriving like next week. So there was a huge rush to recruit enough pilots and to get them all trained up. And so, for me, it was an enormous opportunity, because I'd spent nearly a year on the dole trying to get a job with any airline. I had been very depressed during the first Gulf War. No one was flying, and airlines were going bust, and there were no jobs. There were heaps of airline pilots on the dole queues.
Wow.
And all of a sudden, Virgin were recruiting big time. To get enough pilots to fly an long-haul aircraft, you need a lot of crews per airplane.
Yeah.
Because the airplane is in constant use, but obviously the crews need rest days. So, I got in that first tranche of pilots they recruited for the Airbus. And I was just looking at my logbook, actually, because I'm, writing a bit there. And it was actually only 2 years and 4 months between joining the company and getting my command assessment to do my command course. And I was, really quite astounded, because most times to command were 8 or 10 years. and we were doing it in a fraction of the time by then because the company was growing so fast. So it was a fascinating time, and what's more, it's just lovely to fly brand new airplanes all the time.
Yeah, I bet.
They, you know, go 15, 20 years down the road when they were all getting a bit long in the tooth, and it's a different matter.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were very proud of the airline. Actually, we were very small and niche and boutique, but people had some good ideas when it came to things that might interest passengers. Even things like having the beauticians on board to give massages and do the ladies' nails up in upper class, or just the differences of the service that other airlines couldn't do, and the changes to the cabin to keep it fresh and looking good, because having a relatively small number of aircraft, it's not hugely expensive to make changes like that.
True enough.
Whereas if you've got a fleet of 300 or 400, you've got to plan these things a long time in advance, and it takes ages to upgrade the whole fleet. Whereas we could do it in almost overnight.
Yeah, and of course, ironically, that now that Virgin is a much bigger airline, of course, it's meeting those same problems, if you like, because of that. Almost, it isn't the small airline it once was.
Well, it's not that much bigger than it used to be. When I was we had about 45 airplanes.
Yeah.
And what's happened is we've got rid of 340s and we've bought 350s, but the number of aircraft in the airline and the size of the airline hasn't really changed that much.
Oh, wow.
But, so, it still
I don't know why I'm
remains
surprised by that, yeah.
Yeah, relatively small. I'd have to go into the internet to see what the actual fleet size is now, but I'd be surprised if it was much over 50.
Amazing.
So, Nick, I'm quite interested with an introduction of 12 new aircraft that you talked about there. So if you were to bring in, say, one additional aircraft to the fleet, how many pilots would be required in order to be able to kind of adequately staff that?
Well, there was an approximate number, and it was somewhere between 8 or 10 crews to keep one aircraft going.
Wow.
So, it depends on your route structure and the length of time you need to rest people, how many days off you had down route. So it's quite a complicated algorithm really to make that calculation. But yeah, you need a significant number of pilots to keep just one airplane continually flying, because the aircraft, we have one of the fastest utilization rates of aircraft amongst almost all our competitors. So the aircraft literally might have spent 2 or 4 hours on the ground per day, and that was it, and it was turned and gone again.
Wow.
So all the time it was airborne, it was making money. All the time it's on the ground, it's losing money. So it's very important to be able to keep that really finely tuned so that you don't have aircraft sitting around waiting for the next takeoff. You can get them turned and back into the air again. And that's quite a complex thing when you've got to add in engineering requirements, etc., etc. So, and I think with a smaller number of airplanes, we were able to do it very efficiently.
Definitely.
And did the 340 have a crew rest area on board?
Yep. Yeah, they're behind the flight deck. There were a pair of bunks in a little little caravan area, and in the belly of the aircraft, in the cargo hold, they inserted a sort of prefabricated crew rest area for the cabin crew. Yeah, so they slid it into the cargo hold and then positioned it underneath a set of stairs so that the cabin crew could open a little secret door and go down some stairs into their crew rest, which I think slept 8 or 10 down there, and they could sleep underneath the passengers' floor. But ours was not a fancy crew rest. I got a chance to have a crew rest in a 787. I was positioning on a duty flight, And the skipper said, well, we can't use the crew rest, so if you guys want to, you can get out of your seats and go and use our crew rest, which was very kind of him. And it was so luxurious up there.
Really?
It was absolutely lovely, you know. And you may not realize that the airplane flies slightly nose up all the time. So if you've got a flat bed and the airplane flies nose up, you've got to make sure that your head is at the nose up end.
Oh,
because
right.
it's very hard to sleep with your head slightly down. Even though it's only 2 or 3 degrees, your body knows the difference. And I noticed that the mattresses in the 787 and the pillows were wedge-shaped so that it countered the angle of the fuselage and put you on an even keel, as it were. And I thought, that's great attention to detail, Boeing. I really like that.
Yeah.
And it had lovely illumination. It also had a couple of rest chairs down there. So if you didn't want to sleep, you could sit in a rest chair and watch the entertainment system or do some work, perhaps at a little desk.
Yeah.
So they really thought of everything. It was
Nice.
wonderfully quiet. And that was the main thing. It was quiet. Big problem with the 340 is that the wall of our crew rest was directly behind the cabin area, so all the time the forward galley, all the time the crew were in the forward galley, you know, smashing plates around and you know, doing their Zorba the Greek plate throwing competitions that they used to have. You know, used to make a dreadful noise, and the wall was half an inch thick, so you can
heard everything.
Yeah, exactly right. You'd hear all the scuttling, which pilots were going to be lucky on this leg, which weren't. So
no, quite. No, indeed. Anyway,
it was sometimes hard to sleep in anticipation of a good night out.
Of course, absolutely. And a perfect place to bring it to a close there. Thank you very much, Nick. We're going to move on now to the military and Armando.
Exciting.
I know, right? Don't get too excited. We've been very lucky in Armando sending us the video for this one, talking all about the current conflict.
Blast up bogies 13550, Angel 16, heading 340. Okay. 100 bogies.
Hey team, greetings from a very rainy Munich, Germany. Over the past week, the military picture in the air war over the Middle East has remained relatively quiet in terms of large-scale strike operations, but one event did stand out. An Iranian missile attack targeting the Kuwait International Airport brought some renewed attention to a question that we've discussed throughout this entire conflict. How do you protect critical infrastructure when missiles and drones can arrive with little warning? Increasingly, that question is shaping military planning across the entire region. So across the last 7 days, U.S. and coalition air operations have continued at a steady pace. Fighter aircraft remain active, conducting patrols, surveillance missions, and deterrence operations across the Gulf region. Carrier aviation continues supporting operations from the Arabian Sea, while drones and intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance platforms maintain persistent coverage across key maritime and land corridors. The most significant event this week was Iran's missile attack targeting Kuwait International Airport. While the airport remained operational and damage appears to have been limited, the attack is important because it represents another example of Iran targeting transportation and infrastructure nodes rather than purely military facilities. From an aviation standpoint, airports are attractive targets. They're difficult to move, they're economically important, and often support both military and civilian operations. Even temporary disruptions can have effects that extend well beyond the immediate area. The attack also reinforces a broader trend that we've seen throughout this entire conflict, that the battlefield is no longer confined to military bases. Increasingly, civilian infrastructure, transportation hubs, energy facilities, and shipping networks are becoming part of that operational picture. This week's missile strike against the Kuwait International Airport highlights an important shift in modern warfare. Historically, air campaigns focused heavily on military installations, and that is still happening in the region, as we just saw the Navy's 5th Fleet headquarters being targeted. But traditionally, most of the targets were airfields, radar sites, command centers, ammunition depots. Those targets still matter, but increasingly the infrastructure itself has become part of the battlefield. Airports, perfect example. They're economic hubs, they're transportation hubs, and in many countries they are also closely linked to military operations. So even if an attack causes limited physical damage, it can still create some massive disruption. Flights will be delayed, airspace restrictions can be imposed. We've seen that. Airspace in the Middle East is just in chaos right now. Emergency procedures are activated. Security resources have to be redirected. In other words, the objective isn't always destruction. Sometimes the objective is just uncertainty. And uncertainty can be remarkably effective. From a military perspective, attacks like this also force governments to spread resources more broadly. Every missile defense battery protecting an airport is a missile defense battery that is not being used elsewhere. That doesn't mean that the attack wasn't strategically decisive, far from it, but it demonstrates that Iran continues to view infrastructure as a pressure point, and that pressure affects both military and civilian decision makers. And one of the biggest lessons emerging from this conflict is the growing importance of air and missile defense. Over the last several years, much of the focus in military aviation has centered on stealth aircraft, precision weapons, long strike capability, like we've talked about on the show for years now. Those remain important, but the recent events have highlighted another reality. Defending airspace may be just as important as attacking it. Countries throughout the Gulf are investing heavily in missile defense networks, early warning systems, radars, integrated command structures. The challenge is scale. Defending a military base is difficult enough, but defending airports, ports, facilities, desalination plants, population centers is simultaneously defending all of that is much, much harder. And unlike aircraft, infrastructure doesn't move, so you have to put something there. As the conflict continues, one of the most important developments may not be the next fighter purchase or bomber deployment. It may be the expansion of regional air defense networks. In naval aviation, carrier aviation continues to provide stability across the region. 2 carrier strike groups are still operating under CENTCOM. Naval aviation remains one of the most flexible tools to commanders. What's more notable this week is that the carrier air wings are spending just as much time supporting defensive operations as they were supporting offensive operations earlier in the conflict. Right now, most of the carrier operations are protecting shipping, monitoring that missile activity, maintaining a presence. Those missions don't generally generate headlines, but they are critical to maintaining stability across the region. Looking ahead, question is whether the attacks against this infrastructure become more common, because if airports, ports, energy facilities continue to be targeted, air power will increasingly be measured not just by its ability to strike targets, but by its ability to protect them. And that may be another defining lesson from this conflict. That's the air picture for this week. I'm Armando. Stay tuned. We'll pick it up back again next week.
Thank you, Armando. Really appreciate Armando's videos on this one. It's a subject that obviously he's very qualified to comment on, I think it's safe to say.
Oh, most certainly, yeah.
Yeah.
And he really knows what he's talking about as well. So,
definitely.
Yeah, it's great.
Indeed.
Thanks.
Well, Nick, as in First Officer Nick, it's time to start wrapping up, believe it or not.
It is, yes.
Yeah.
We thought that we might be a little bit short on content this
No,
evening,
absolutely
but,
not. Not when you've got a Captain Nick, I can assure you.
No, Captain Nick has done us proud.
He has, very much so, yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Way too verbose.
Not at all, not at all. We're running to our usual time, which is excellent.
Good job.
No, we really appreciate you coming on at short notice, Nick. Thank you very much.
No problem. Just call me Carlos.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh no, dear.
Got a far better beard.
True enough.
Yeah, it's been great to have you on, and I must admit, I probably could have geeked out on Airbus questions for another half hour or so.
Oh,
but,
absolutely.
Luckily, Matt
Next time, perhaps.
Yeah, next
Yes.
time. Yeah, absolutely.
But,
Yeah,
no, we
definitely.
really appreciate it. So thank you again. So yeah, for our for those of us that are listening to this and are fans of the podcast, you can find us on Facebook, X, and Instagram. Just search for Plain Talking UK. If you want to contact us, you can send us an email at podcast@plaintalkinguk.com. So send in your stories. We always like to hear from you. It'd be nice to get some more stories. We also have a WhatsApp chat room now. So if you'd like to join that, send us an email and we can add you to the group. And you can also find us over on YouTube at youtube.com/Plain Talking UK. And if you're not watching live, we go out every Wednesday evening between 7 and 9 p.m. And you can join us in the chat room and be part of the show.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I think that wraps us all up for this evening, doesn't
I think so, yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much again, Captain Nick, for joining us. Really appreciate you joining in the madness. It's been a lot of fun to have you on. We must do it again soon.
I hope so. Yeah, I look forward to it. That will be for sure.
Absolutely. And well done, First Officer Nick. I know you've been a little bit nervous about this, having to be a little bit more prominent than you're more comfortable with, should I say. But you've done us proud, matey. You've absolutely nailed it. So well done.
Well, thanks,
well
Matt.
done to you.
Normally I'm just sort of making up the numbers a little bit. So
Not at all.
To sort of metaphorically sit in Carlos's chair. It's a big promotion for me.
Scary moment for everyone concerned. Absolutely. Indeed. So thank you very much to everyone for joining us this week, and hopefully we'll have an unpoorly Carlos next week who can join us for episode 603. Oh, look at that. See, Tanya says you crushed it, mate. Love that.
Thank you, Tanya.
That's what comes from being too prominent.
Quite.
You end up crushing it. Oh, sounds painful.
But enough about my hobbies. Episode 603 you will find next week here, hopefully with a fully restored team. Once again, thank you, Nick, for joining us. Thank you to First Officer Nick as well. Take care, everyone, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye. There we are. Did it? Oh, well done. Thank you, Captain
Good
Nick.
job.
Thank you, First Officer Nick. I'm going to be calling you First Officer Nick from now on. All right.
Yeah, I'm going to get some epaulets for my PT UK.
I think you should. Absolutely. Very appropriate. Very appropriate.
I'd also just like to point out Captain Nick is also dressed appropriately in his PT UK t-shirt.
Oh, do you know?
Well, you spotted that. Well
Yes.
done.
I think you're going to get yourself in trouble with the other podcast.
Yes, that's
I
right.
might. Yes, I know.
That's right. They don't watch it. It'll be fine.
Actually, they're more worried about opposing bases than you guys.
Well, fair enough. Yeah.
You're
We're hardly
very
a threat,
popular
are we?
in the APG world. After all, Jeff always tries to avoid recording at the same time because we have so many of the same people in the audience.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
He doesn't like the thought of pulling people away or you pulling people away.
Yeah.
So we definitely try and coordinate.
Yeah, no, we really appreciate that. We really do. But it's been marvelous. We're gonna let things. We're gonna wrap things up straight away. So thank you very much to everyone for joining us this week. As I say, hopefully Nick, we're hoping that Carlos will be slightly less delirious by next week. Bless him. It's been, as I say, honestly, I'm not exaggerating when I say this video he sent in our little group chat there, and at one point, as I say, he was just he wasn't making sense at one point. I mean, it was just like, I don't know what was going on. I nearly called it.
Definitely sounds like one for the bloopers reel.
Yes, I think so. Yes, maybe we should save that for the Christmas thing. Because
it's a bit. We'll play it along with Steph's trying to explain. I'm trying to remember what it was. It was some kind of nose wheel steering system. And she was so she wasn't drunk, but she sounded drunk. She could not get her words out. It was so funny.
It's funny. Do you know? And producer John, when he's on, because he's often listening to the feed that's going out on YouTube to make sure that's right. He's far better at all this sort of thing than I am. He's often listening to the feed that's going out on YouTube plus the live feed of what's going on, like in the here and now. And then also there used to be a talkback feed, and so he would be able to. Now, if I tried to do it once, and I did genuinely sound drunk because my brain literally malfunctioned at the point where he was hearing all these bits and pieces on. So how John does it, where he can hear three different sources in his head and still make sense, I think is quite an achievement. But yeah, absolutely. What it did teach me is that I'm clearly not ever going to be suitable for doing anything on TV with a talk back in my ear, because I'll just freeze every time the director is talking in my ear, it has to be said. But
well, I must admit, the first few times that we were all listening to Liz talking in our background, if I was actually trying to say something, I'd just freeze up because I can't hear it and talk listen, at the same time.
Absolutely. No, I'm exactly the same. I sort of got better at it, again, a bit like you, I suppose, after time and stuff. But there we are.
You eventually try and just block what you're saying there and completely ignore it. But then I've missed what she was saying, so I'd have to be brought back in the loop.
Oh dear. Well,
interesting.
Hopefully your colleagues are listening to it so they can fill you in after, like when you've finished, as it were. Absolutely. Anyway, thank you so much again, Nick, for joining us. Well done, First Officer Nick, for hence which you will now be known going forward. And we'll see you all...
Senior First Officer Nick.
Oh, my apologies.
He's been around long enough to be...
Is that on account of my age, presumably?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
all right. Play nicely, you two.
Both got the grey beard.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Well, I mean, Captain Nick can get away with saying things like that, to be fair, as an honorary statesman and all that. But thank you very much. Well done, everyone. And thanks, guys, for joining us as always. We'll see you again next week for episode 603. Bye-bye for now.
Cheers, everyone.
Bye.